Good morning. It is Friday, TGIF, for those of you who have weekends off. This is day 2 of my 3-day weekend, and I decided to jump on here to do some Q&A, I guess you'd say. I have written down basically a list of things that some people have asked me, and I'm sorry if I haven't gotten back to them right away because of life. I'm not going to make any excuses. It's just the way life can be sometimes. The first question I found on my list of things that people have asked is my ancestry DNA. My mom had gotten a Ancestry.com kit from her sister about a year, maybe 2 years ago now. And I got curious because, of course, her DNA kit was specified for her DNA, and granted, we might have some of the same DNA, but I also have my father's DNA. My morning tea. So I did one. I found a lot of interesting things. Some of it corresponded with mom's. Some of it wasn't even in mom's. Now, the major part of that DNA was, I'm sorry, I forgot. But it was, put it this way, I have Scott, Irish, British, Scandinavian, Norwegian, German. Basically, a lot of my DNA comes from most of the northwest part of Europe. And then, of course, it shows you where your ancestors settled here in the States. And I have Midwest Missouri, Virginia, and South Carolina. So that DNA kit gives me a lot of, like, where my DNA could have come from. Of course, because of who my brain thinks I am, I focus mostly on, like, the Norwegian, which was the Nordic people, Ireland, Scotland, and Germany. But it had a lot of informative information in there. And granted, the kit is like a $50 investment, but they continuously update your information and send you more information and more of what they found, as they progress, as they get bigger and learn more, and can get more DNA information from various parts of the world. But like I said, that's each person's DNA is going to be different. Somebody asked me why I don't talk more on Janie's channel when we do a live broadcast. Mostly because the fact it's Janie's channel and she has more followers and more people to talk to and more things to talk about. I'm pretty much, I guess, when other people start talking or they're talking about their thing, I kind of step back because I'm not always involved in her thing right now. I'm hoping I can get more involved as I progress towards retirement. Now, somebody had asked me, what is a good study Bible? I think somebody asked me on my channel, and I think somebody asked on one of our live broadcasts. And right now I am using, well, I have multiple study Bibles, but the one that I'm using now that I'm finding more useful and more, I guess, informative would be, it's called the Everyday Man's Bible, but this is for men. They have one for women, but the one that I would suggest for a beginner, I guess you'd say, would be like the Quest Bible. It's pretty informative as well. Now, this is for me. This is my Bible. This is the Bible I use for my Bible studies. These are Bibles I've used. There are plenty of Bible study Bibles out there. You'd have to look into them and whatnot. Depending on what you're looking for, depends on what you want. Now, the reason why I say right now I'm using the Everyday Man's Study Bible is because it is geared towards me as a man, not just in general. but the Quest Bible would be good for a general Quest Bible for students, um, things like that. Political views out of my blogs. Well, I only did it that one time because I had recently read or seen or heard something that got me amped up. I'm not a big political person. In fact, President Trump, which I'm not exactly fully 100% supportive of, he's done some good stuff, but there's so much stuff that he's done that just is not kosher in my book. And this, because this is my channel, I will basically go by how I feel. I'm sorry if that basically upsets anybody. I'm not here to basically please everybody. I'm just here to talk about my points of view and my life and things like that. Anyhow, I'll get off that subject before I get too amped up. Somebody had basically written down, why do I put myself down? I don't see it as putting myself down. I see it as part of my character. Some of it's character flaw, some of it's, I just, like I said, I talk about me, I talk about my things, my feelings, my subjects, things like that. If somebody thinks I'm putting myself down, well, you're seeing something I'm not. I've never saw anything that I've said about myself as a put down. It's part of my character. And we all have character flaws, so please don't sit there and try to tell me otherwise. Because the last perfect man to roam the earth was over 2,000 years ago, and his name was Jesus. And if you don't like me talking about religion, then you're looking at the wrong channel, because a lot of my stuff is religious. My Bible studies, basically. Excuse me. Somebody asked, how did we go from struggling to pay our bills to no longer struggling? Well, that's simple. Perseverance. Simple as that. Perseverance. We did go through a very long period of time between when my father-in-law, Diane's dad, passed away, and just within the last 6 months. Well, I shouldn't say the last 6 months. The last couple of years. Up until about 6 months ago, we were struggling to make ends meet. Between Janie doing her channel, which as it progressed, it got better money, it got more money. So that helped us get out of our struggles. Me getting a good job, a good pay, helped us get out of our struggles. But what really jumped us from struggling to not struggling, the biggest part that helped us out was Janine's father's estate her brother finally got everything settled. And she got her fifth, or her share of the money from the estate. But what really put us into a struggle, besides her father getting sick, and then Hurricane Sandy, and then us moving from New York to here in Missouri, things were tight. And now they're not. But like I said, it's just simple perseverance. Get your head on straight, get your money straight, persevere to work hard, and to get, I'm straightening myself, to get a good income. But, like I said, perseverance is what really is the final answer. A lot of prayers, a lot of perseverance, and then, we finally got our, I wouldn't say our boat, but we got our boost to help us out. And now that we've gotten our money straightened out and everything's no longer a struggle, we are very mindful of our money, of what we're doing. Somebody asked about how can I be retiring at such a young age. Well, I wouldn't say such a young age. I am 48. I know today's retirement is most people can't retire until they're past 70, which I feel sorry for, because that's just the way I shouldn't say the world, but that's just the way our country has become. I know plenty of people from foreign countries who retired at my age because of the fact that they were smart. what's going to help me retire basically at such a young age is simple. The channel. Not just this channel, but Jerry Ann's channels. This channel, I'm at, last time I checked, I'm at no, not 600, I'll take that back, at 577 viewers. All I need is another 433 viewers, and I can start monetizing my channel, and which basically means I can start getting revenue after a certain period of time, after hitting 1,000. Jerry Ann said I have to hit 1,000 viewers, and then I have to hit X amount of something or other for them to start paying me after I monetize. So that's what's going to help me retire, is basically you, the viewers, watching my channel, Janie Ann's channel, things like that. That's how we get. She's making more money than I am right now, monthly. Wish clothing. Somebody said something about Wish clothing size. Well, between what I've read and what I've experimented with, I can wear a large to extra large shirt, and it's comfortable or loose. Because most of the sizing charts are either European or Asiatic sizing charts, it is best to order, let's say if you're an extra large, order a 2X or a 3X. For me, I've been ordering 2X, and they're loose, but they're not like I'm afraid to move without ripping an armpit or something. But I do like a lot of the stuff that I've gotten from Wish so far, except for one piece of jewelry. Actually, well, one particular piece of jewelry, because it was steel, not stainless steel, and it was turning my neck green. So after putting it through a jewelry bath, finding out that it just literally turned the whole necklace to crap. So you got to be mindful of what you order from Wish when it comes to jewelry. If you watch any other viewers, or not any other viewers, excuse me. If you watch any other videos that are people who are talking about Wish items, a lot of them are very informative. There's this one guy who basically takes the original item and compares it to the Wish item and tells you the flaws or the differences. I don't know anybody. I don't know their names. I have a feeling if you look up anything on here about Wish, you'll get 1,000 different people talking about Wish items. But so far, I haven't found any issues with their clothing products. There is one woman who did talk about how they took her original and turned it into a knockoff, and it's flawed. And I can understand her point of view, because she hand sewed her Renaissance dress, and they took a picture of it. Probably took a picture of it off the internet and tried to make a duplicate, but it's got so many flaws that she was upset. I understand that. I would be too if I was that skilled and somebody tried to make a knockoff for cheaper, and it didn't even look, let alone feel like the same thing. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't had people sue them for that kind of thing. But like I said, I'm not a seamstress or crafter or anything like that that can be duplicated. Most of my things are words, stuff from up here. And if they can duplicate what's up here, I'd be very afraid. The last thing on here, somebody didn't say anything. I wrote it down on my list of things to talk about. My original set of vlogs, besides my Bible studies, was on my past. Now, I reviewed my videos and found out the place that I left off last was high school. My next video, or my next set of videos, I'm going to start focusing back on my past, and basically how my past is what shaped my life, I guess. I don't know. But somebody had basically said you should put out a video to, get to know you video. Well, I cannot put out a single get to know you video that's going to be shorter than an hour because of my past. Just to break it down real quick, and if you feel that you want to hear more, that's fine. I will do that. But to break it down real quick, I am the product like I was made. My father was Air Force. My mom was a housewife from Missouri. My dad was from Chicago, Illinois. Now, I don't know very much about my parents' past except for bits and pieces. But because of my father being in the Air Force, I got to travel to, well, I was born in a foreign country. Born in the Philippine Islands. I'm an automatic American citizen because when my father passed away, he had an agreement of some sort with the government, with the U.S. government, that upon his death, if he died before I turned 18, I automatically became an American citizen, no choice. I had found out after the situation that if he had survived past my 18th birthday, I would have been able to choose Filipino or American citizenship or dual citizenship. But I guess my dad didn't want me to have to deal with that without being able to say, hey, before you choose, let's go back to the Philippines so you can see where you were born. I never got that chance. That, in fact, Mount Pinatubo, which was a volcano outside of Angeles City, where I was born. Clark Air Force Base, Angeles City, Philippine Islands. Mount Pinatubo blew up, took out the base and half of the city. So even if I were to go back there, I would only get to see this half of the city that survived. I got to see Germany. I was 80 to 83, so I was like 10, 11, 12 years old while we were there. No. 9, 10, 11 years old. We got back to the States before I turned 12. So we got to see Germany firsthand, which was fun. It was even more fun when I ended up going back to the state when we got back to the States and got into high school, because my high school German teacher, who learned everything by the book, not firsthand, was mispronouncing towns and villages and locations in Germany. That, in fact, he was teaching book German, which is High German. High German is not used by the people who live there. It's used by businessmen and visitors, tourists. I learned German firsthand, so we got into a lot of arguments. In fact, I cursed him out once or twice in German, which was fun because all my classmates wanted to learn what I was saying. That was pissing him off. No, I wasn't going to teach him that much. But let's just say I got to see the principal once or twice for it. And the principal couldn't really do much because, it's a foreign language. Deal with it. So basically, that's kind of, I shouldn't say that's kind of my life. Because of my dad being military, we did bounce around. The worst place I ever lived was Little Rock, Arkansas, back in the 70s. That was in the 70s. Do not judge me for that information because, like I said, that was in the late 70s. And a lot of it was based on trouble that not only my father was having, but my mom was having, because it was the first place before Germany she tried to drive. That was also the beginning of my school life. Not fun. That, in fact, I was a holy terror in a handbasket, but that's just because I've always been that way around new situations. Excuse me. But my high school life was ups and downs. Not only because of the factor of I knew things that most people didn't know because they've never dealt with it firsthand. And, that was a time in life where I lost 2 aunts, a grandmother, and my father. within 18 months of each other. So, yeah, towards the middle of my high school, beginning to middle of my high school years, was not easy. I became withdrawn, manic. I lost my, shouldn't say I lost, because it was never lost. It was just put aside. My Christianity. I started getting into Wicca, shamanism, pagan beliefs, basically, mystical beliefs, whatever you want to call it. I had a numerous. I think I had like 3 or 4 different books that had either well, one of them was definitely a witchcraft book. It had spells of sorts, which I never tried. I also had a book on tarot card reading, a book on runestone reading, and a book on Native American medicine. And I think that was the only book that I actually tried to keep after I realized that it wasn't working. A lot of things weren't working back then. My brain, my yeah, a lot of things just were out of whack. It wasn't until after, well, I haven't gotten to this part, but I'll get into more of a lot of it. It wasn't until we moved back to Missouri, Mom and me, Mom and I, however you want to put it, that I shouldn't say was reintroduced to Christianity, but I started seeing Christianity in a different light. Not a bad light. No. I mean, when I was growing up, Christianity was basically what my parents were. Christianity, when we got back to Missouri, because I know Mom was going through a bad patch of her own. When we got back into the church and whatnot, I was seeing things with a different light, because after going through my period of time where I was literally reading and studying just about every religious culture or religious text, from the old pagan, Buddha, Muhammad, old gods type stuff, to reading the historical background on Catholicism and Christianity, and where all the different modern God-fearing religions came from or were based on. And so by the time I got back to Christianity, there was a whole new light on the whole religious background. But anyhow, and then some of my history is already known, but I will go into depth throughout the years, which will help me with the one book I've been working on, which I thought I talked about in a vlog. I think I did, because I'm starting to write into that. So digging into my past and my background and whatnot will help with that book. Anyhow, I'm going to sign off, because today is going to be another busy work day. We are going to go into Jerry's craft room to clean it, fix it up, and make it usable for a guest room, because Tuesday evening, my two sister-in-laws and niece, I guess I should call her a niece-in-law, but she's Jerry Ann's niece from her sister, are going to be here visiting, and this room, which is basically where I come in here for Bible study and vlogs, will be occupied by 2 women. My sister-in-law and her daughter, my niece. Jerry Ann's craft room is either going to be occupied by her other sister or me. I'm hoping me, because the click-clack sofa, which is like a futon of sorts, is not exactly all that comfortable. And no offense to any of my family members, because I love every single, well, I love every one of them, but two. One because he is don't want to speak ill of anybody, but my older brother-in-law can be a bit, I don't want to say self-righteous, but he has his issues. My younger brother-in-law, the youngest of the in-laws, I don't know what's going on with him. He was so gung-ho to help us move to Missouri before Hurricane Sandy, because both me and my wife wanted to get out of New York. We both were tired of it. Me, because of the fact I'm not a big city person, and her because she's been here to Missouri. She's been to Georgia. She's been out of state, and she loved it because it's less crowded, less noisy, less polluted, less negativity. But now that we're basically done with the whole family estate settling affairs with the father's stuff and whatnot, he's made one contact with us since then in 6 years or so, just to tell my wife what kind of Macintosh, what kind of Mac she should get if she goes to get a Mac. Gave her specs on a build and the whole 9 yards. And that was it. She tried to contact him to get help with the process of doing it, and nope, nothing. So far as I know, he's dropped off the face of the earth. I mean, I have no idea. But otherwise, my three sister-in-laws, I have no problems with. They keep in contact with Jerry quite constantly. Well, I shouldn't say constantly, but quite often. I am not a sibling. I have no siblings. I'm an only child. But from what I can tell from my in-laws, it's like the boys don't want nothing to do with my wife, and the girls are happy to have a nice long conversation about a lot of different stuff. In fact, I finished my tea. In fact, the one sister-in-law who's visiting, Janie, she's been here once before, I think. Yeah, she has been here once before. She was the first one out of any of the family members who had any friendly connection to me. I mean, most of the other ones were either sarcasm because that's their way of life, or didn't think me and Jay would work out. Oh, we proved everybody wrong. Granted, we do have our problems and whatnot, but for a while, in the beginning, everybody was like, "Why do you want to be with him? He's nuts." As me and Jay say all the time, you're my kind of crazy. So, but now they have no problems with me. In fact, this holiday will be the first time Julie, my sister-in-law who lives out in Vegas, has been here. My other sister-in-law, Alicia, there was a plan for her to come out here and visit, but that fell through. Not sure why. It was either something to do with medical or just not the right time, not the right, it had nothing to do with money, because her husband John makes good money in New York. But anyhow, I'm rambling. This is my sign off. This will be my sign off. So yeah, in the near future, we'll have more videos on my past and hopefully some more Bible study. So until then, have a good evening. Talk to you later. Oh, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to hear more, hit the bell. It will notify you. I'm happy to attempt to answer questions, which I've done today. Until then, have a good night. God bless. Bye.